Hey, what's up, guys? Thanks for stopping in. My name is Casey Kramer. I'm a farrier, former strength and conditioning coach, current online strength and conditioning coach. I help farriers, I help blue collar men and women get in better shape, deal with injuries, deal with recovery, and overall just live better and work better. And so if that's you, feel free to reach out. Today, what I want to dive into is some questions that I had on for farriers on how you get in better shape to become a farrier. It's a question that I've had from apprentices or maybe someone who's been in the game a little bit longer, just wants to work more efficiently, do better, overall just feel better, be in better shape while you're working. And so let's dive into that. And I'll jump right into some things that I've done and that I have seen work with myself and with others, and hopefully they'll help you out too. So obviously the first thing that anyone who's been shoeing horses for forever will tell you is that the best way to get in shape for shoeing horses is just to shoe more horses. And that's true, as is the case with anything. If you want to run a marathon, the best way to do that is to get out and just run more. That's going to put you in a better place to get there. However, there are a lot of things along the way that you can do to help your body, to help you be more efficient, to gain some strength, some endurance, and some things that you can use in your life and in your work and for everyday things that'll help you. And so what I did for myself, and I'm coming up on being a farrier for 4 years. So I've been in the game not very long. I'm still relatively new to it. Like I said, I was a strength and conditioning coach for 16 years. And so just kind of made a career switch a few years back. And so one thing that I did last year is I was helping another guy, and we did a lot. We did a lot of horses in a day, somewhere 15 to 20, probably like that. So I wore a heart rate monitor and an activity strap that tracked my overall activity as I went through the day. And so what I found when I was working in those long days, and I would bet that yours is very similar too. So my heart rate would elevate, but would stay very steady through the whole day. And so one thing that I've come to know, and that you would probably know too, is that shoeing horses is a repetition, steady type of job. And so, if you counted your hammer strokes or your rasp strokes or whatever, your knifing, it's just a lot of repetition with the same things over and over and over again, done repeatedly. There's 4 feet on a horse. You're going to do a lot of the same movements over and over again. Your body's going to be in a lot of the same positions over and over again. And so it's really about elevating. Your body is going to elevate, your heart rate's going to elevate, the work that you put out is going to elevate, and it's going to stay very steady through most of the day. So my heart rate was pretty much the same through the whole day. It would elevate and would just kind of stay there. And so really for me, it was a lot like if I got on a treadmill and I started walking briskly and I did that for hours, that would produce the same result from my heart rate stance. So from a heart rate, for my lungs, for basically my cardiac output would be very, very similar. So me shoeing horses all day versus me walking on a treadmill all day was very, very similar. So with that, the thing that I did, and what I think is that, there's, you could listen to scientists or PhDs or whatever talk on this, and you'd probably get different answers. But here's my take on it: is that the human body, much like everything else, there's a limit to what you can do. What I would call, and when I was coaching, what I would call the red line. So you can push yourself to a certain limit, no matter what you're doing. If you're running, or if you just take a hammer and start swinging it, at a certain point, you're not gonna be able to swing it anymore. You're gonna hit that red line. No matter what you're doing, if you're holding a plank or doing push-ups or whatever, you're going to come to a point where you just can't do it anymore. And that's basically your body using what information and what things it has and stopping you as a protective mechanism. Like the old Navy SEAL thing of like, you can go a lot harder than you think you can, which that's very true. However, your body is going to start to shut you down as a protective mechanism. And so, same thing goes for when you're shoeing horses or whatever. You'll have a red line, you'll have a limit of how much you're able to do. And so from my standpoint, you could call it endurance, you could call it whatever you want. I call it stamina. So it's how much strength you have versus how much endurance you have produces what I would call stamina. And so for me, what I like to do is to try to increase that. So I'm always working to try to push and increase my red line. So however much stamina I have. And one of the best techniques that I know of to do that, I heard this on is from Dr. Peter Attia, who is a PhD, does a lot of research in physiology and just human movement and strength and conditioning and things like that, is what's called a 4x4 model of conditioning. So what I like to do is it's an interval type of training. So if you can get on a bike, you can get on any type of exercise equipment of choice. And what you're going to do is you're going to go for 4 minutes at a pace that's really hard to keep for 4 minutes, but you can keep it for 4 minutes. So it's going to be tough. So what I do is I get on the bike I like the bike with the fan on it, the Airdyne bike. So I'll get on that and I'll crank it up. I'll go as hard as I can for 4 minutes, and then I rest for 4 minutes. And I repeat that 4 times. And so, in relatively a little bit more than 30 minutes, you're getting in a pretty good workout. So what that does is it pushes your heart rate, it pushes your red line, pushes you closer to your red line, and you hold that for 4 minutes. So if my red line is here, I'm going to be working at 4 minutes, for 4 minutes, just below my threshold. And so over time, what you see is that your threshold begins to go higher and higher. If I was on the bike and let's say, this isn't accurate, but if I was at speed 20 and I held that for 4 minutes, after a few weeks, I'm going to be able to do 22. So what happened there was that my stamina, my threshold, my red line rose up just a little bit. And so that's what I like to do to really push up the amount of work that I can do. Now you have to combine that with some strength work. And so I do also a lot of strength work through the week too. And so progressive overload is a way that you also mirrors the same type of concept. And what that means is that I'm always trying to do just a little bit more than what I did the week prior or the days prior. And so if let's say I'm bench pressing and I do 100, I want to try to do 105 next time, or I want to try to do 110. So progressive overload, you're always trying to just give yourself just a little bit more, again, just to push yourself up a little bit. So for us as farriers, shoeing horses, like I said, is steady state. So a way to get yourself better is to push above that. So just try to always raise that up. And in doing that, you're going to get better. So if you're starting out, if you're new to it, it's going to be really hard for you. It's going to require you a lot of energy and a lot of effort to get through your day of shoeing horses. As you work out and as you go over time, like what was once a hard day becomes an easier day, and so you're just helping yourself. You're just helping yourself get into better shape, pushing your threshold, pushing your stamina up a little bit higher. And so I would say, I've heard guys say, like if you want to get better, the best thing to do is to walk on the treadmill. So I would say that's not true. I would do more of a higher intensity interval. And if you're lifting weights, I would go for more of a progressive overload type of model. Keep those reps down. So you want to everything that I do is pretty much 6 reps or less. So my strength volume, my overall volume of my workouts are very low. So let's say, for something, I would rather do like 3 sets of 5 heavy, super heavy, or 3 sets of 3 reps, super heavy, than I would say, doing like 10, 20, 25 reps. And why is that? Because, for me, so shoeing horses, like I said, is a repetition game. So I'm doing repetitions all day. Again, like hammer swings. You're swinging your hammer a lot. You're doing a lot of rasping strokes. That's a lot of repetition. So to go in the gym and do a lot of repetition just doesn't make any sense, but you can help yourself by gaining some strength and pushing your strength level higher instead of doing more repetitions, if that makes any sense. So overall, my key takeaways, what I would love you to get is that you have a line, you have an ability to do work, and that's what I would call your stamina, where your strength meets your endurance. They come together, and there's a thing called stamina. So we want to push that higher. So we want to get stronger, and we want to have greater endurance, pushing the stamina higher, raising that red line up just a little bit every single time that we do it. So frequency, the next question, how many days per week? You know, I think you can get a lot out of 3 to 4 days a week in the gym. That would be optimal. If you only have 2 or 3, that's all you got. You only have 2 or 3. If I only had 2 days to work out, I would do 1 day of that 4x4 protocol like I told you, and then I would do 1 day of a total body strength workout. And so if you have 4 days, obviously you're gonna wanna do maybe 2 days and 2 days. But you need to be working both. You need to be pushing yourself with interval type of cardio, and you need to be doing some progressive overload. Ideally, I would recommend that you're in the gym 4 days a week, but you know, everybody doesn't have that same time. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I can be found on any of the social channels, Instagram, Facebook. Check me out, Casey Kramer. This channel is the Blue Collar Bunkhouse. I also have an online workout program, Blue Collar Bunkhouse, where I deliver online workouts to blue collar people, working class people, people that like to get in shape, don't necessarily have the time or the resources. Hit me up. I would love to work with you. I appreciate you checking out the video, and I'll see you guys next time.